everybody, welcome to Hollister, California. I am Katie, and with me is...
Jose.
Yeah.
This is like the preppiest place ever. Like, I've been wearing Hollister since I was like in middle school, and like I'm so excited to finally be here.
You would never wear
and like
Hollister.
See like the real Hollister. Like, I'm so excited. This place is gonna be preppier than anything you've ever imagined.
I'm sure you beat a kid up wearing Hollister once.
There's gonna be like white women everywhere.
I haven't seen one. I feel like I'm the only one here.
There's gonna be like surfboards. Like, we're right on the coast.
We're inland in a mountain.
So we're not on the coast?
No.
This is a surfing town.
Of what? Surfing mountains? I guess you could ride a sled up there if it snowed.
So it's not a surfing town?
No.
We're not on the coast?
No.
There aren't crappy white women everywhere?
No.
Then why the crap are we here?
You wanted to come here, but I know for a fact that Hollister is owned by Abercrombie and Fitch.
Which is ironic because the kids that wear Abercrombie and Fitch would not wear Hollister.
Yes.
Even though it's owned by the same company.
Yes.
That's not the dumbest thing ever. Like, if we don't get you on the left, we'll get you on the right.
Yeah.
We'll get you either way. So, I never once wear Hollister. Never liked the brand. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I imagine this town being like totally preppy and like rich kids and like
it's not.
Let me just say, La Familia es pura. Take a right on Main Street, which is San Benito Street right here on the right. Now, this town's like nothing like what I imagined, or what you imagined it would be, actually. This is more like Buenos Tacos, mi amigo, not so much Bueno Preppy, mi amigo. And by the way, the Hollister brand
was started in Ohio.
In Ohio by Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
And not only that, that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is there's no Hollister store here. Mm-hmm. You'd have to go to like to Salinas or something, and even then, I haven't seen anybody wearing this crap in California. So, the notion that like when we were buying Hollister in Florida, and when I say we, I mean like my generation, because I would never wear this crap.
Nor I.
Yeah, I wore Abercrombie and Fitch, but it wasn't like we bought it from the store. It was like somebody we knew
had it
for the low.
Someone was nice and brought it to you.
At a discounted price.
At a well-discounted price.
Yeah. So anyways, like I was saying, I wear Abercrombie and Fitch because we were getting a discount. But I would never have worn Hollister. It just wasn't me. Hollister was like an ultra preppy brand at the time when we were in middle school. I'm in my 30s, so do the math. Mm-hmm. When we were in middle school, like the preppiest of preppiest kids would wear Hollister.
20 years ago.
And then they would tell us stories about how they went to California and how the town of Hollister, we were like surfing in Hollister. All that was lies. There's no surfing here. I thought there was good tacos, but definitely not surfing.
Oh, they have a mural. The only thing I think they got here is tacos.
Tacos, that's it. Like the good tacos at best.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like so. Like I remember kids like they would tell stories about like, oh, my parents took us to Hollister and we were like surfing in Hollister. Like they would make up stories about being in California, and in our mind this would have been like when you told me Hollister, I imagined this like preppy, coastal town.
This is not preppy.
Where people were surfing and stuff and. Katie, watch out! Dang it! You go. Oh my God! What are you doing? What are you doing, Katie? You're the only white woman here. You're representing a whole entire race right now, and you're driving like an idiot.
You can adopt dolls. They're adopting dolls.
You need to adopt a stop sign. That's the crap you need to adopt. You know what you need to adopt is a freaking driving course. What the crap? Why is there so much glare? Let me see if I can fix that real quick, guys. There's a lot of glare in this camera. I'm not sure adopt a freaking driving course. That's what the crap you need to adopt. Freaking 8-hour driving course called Learn How to Freaking Drive. What the crap was that, bro? You scared me. When somebody in an F-350 lets a Toyota cut them off, that lets you know how bad your driving is. Take a left here on Nash.
Where the light is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely not the Hollister you imagine it would be. It's 70% Hispanic. Left on Nash, women.
Okay.
There's no surfing here. No, but there's no Hollister store here.
There's a mountain over there. If it snows,
Stop! You have a
yes.
board. You let these pedestrians. Now they're afraid to pass. Now they got the signal to walk, and they're like, "We're gonna stay over here." Hey, where's the Hollister clothing store? We want to wear Hollister, like surfboards and all that. Not here. Like surfboards and all that. No, wrong town.
They lied.
They're like, what are y'all doing? They're like, no idea. They're not. I don't think this is the right place.
Plus,
We'll keep asking the locals, see what they say.
They're probably a lot younger than us and have no idea what Hollister is.
They have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, like, all these kids like us, they grew up in Florida, thinking this was like some white woman wonderland where people are surfing and driving Range Rovers. That's not what's happening here. And you know what's, like, the ironic thing is, one, I think if those white kids knew that they were, like, wearing Immokalee shirts,
yeah,
they would have had second thoughts.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, well, go women, you got a green light.
Well, the people in Florida, parents probably would not let them go to Immokalee.
Yeah, it's a town those white kids would be afraid of walking in, to be honest.
Yeah.
It looks nice, but it's not the surfing town of the movies.
No. Cute houses.
Cute houses for sure. Lots of leaves being blown around. I guess it's fall here in December. It's fall in December here. No surfboards to be seen anywhere in this town. No surfboards, no white women anywhere. More trucks and taco stores.
And pizza stores. I've seen a few pizza stores.
Yeah, there's one white girl. Probably having a hard time fitting in. I like how in California kids actually walk from school. Like you see groups of kids walking from school.
Yeah.
In Florida, people would never let their kids walk from school. Oh, we have to protect our little honeys and babies. Well,
in Michigan, I used to walk.
Yeah, like all the kids walk together from school. Like in Florida, the parents have to go pick them up because something's gonna happen to my little baby. My little 7-foot baby's gonna get hurt. Kids actually walk from school here in California, everywhere. In Florida, that would never happen. You know, like that would never happen in Florida.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't even let me go to the bus stop.
Nope.
In the morning alone, they would not.
So who's the real come basura? That's my question.
In the afternoon, they let me walk home just fine, but in the morning, they're like, nope, not my little baby in the dark.
Not my little shovel white girl in the dark.
I had good parents.
Okay, so where the crap are we heading to next? There's not even enough. By the way, horrendous phone signal everywhere in California. Especially out here. These mountains don't help. Modesto, Merced. Okay, so your idea of us going to... What about Fresno? Let's see how far we're out from Fresno. Two hours to Fresno. But that puts us far inland. And from Fresno, if you want to do some mountain climbing, you can climb up the Sierra National. Before it snows and rains and crap. Sacramento's out of the question. It's way too far.
Okay.
You know, if we want to do Merced, that's an hour and a half. I think Makes no sense. You gotta go north before you go south.
Head east on Sunny Slope Road toward Memorial Drive.
So this is definitely not the Mercedes-Benz BMW land of preppy white girls. I wonder if those, like, what a lie. First of all, like, they made it seem like it was this coastal town where people were surfing. Dude, this is like Immokalee.
So nobody looked at a map?
Yeah, and then like on top of that, they made it seem like the brand had been around since the 1920s. Lie. The brand was founded like in 2008 or something, right?
No.
2004, 2001?
Earlier.
But it wasn't founded in 1920 whatever.
No.
So it was a complete marketing scam.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was a huge Abercrombie and Fitch hustle. But while Abercrombie and Fitch was hustling white kids, we were hustling them. Because we were wearing their stuff for free. Oh man. When I pulled up to North Naples Middle School wearing Abercrombie, all the white kids were like, dude, you have rich parents? I thought you were poor. I'm like, nah, homie. Ain't no rich parents. It's a street, son! Street, son. I was in middle school getting my own Abercrombie. Can you imagine how embarrassing it was going to a school where everybody was wearing Abercrombie and Hollister and you could not afford these brands, period? Like, could you imagine with the poverty that we were going through back then, the notion of wearing, I don't know, $200 sweater, $100 sweater back then, or $60.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't spend that much.
And you had good parents.
Mile, turn
Yeah.
left onto
You had
Fairview
white
Road.
parents at that. Imagine if Hispanic parents. The notion of telling my parents, hey, parents,
I had Aeropostale, but I think I may have paid that myself. Or, you know, it was heavily discounted.
dang, dude, like, so to get to Fresno here, you literally
Turn left onto Fairview Road.
have to drive north before you can even go south.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mountain drive, by the way.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you could have blown that red light.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't have all day.
I know.
The notion of wearing back then, asking my parents to buy me in the situations that we were living through, asking my parents to buy me, it was just, we didn't even have food sometimes. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I've been in middle school. I've talked about in high school I used to sell bubblegum, but now that I think about it, even in middle school I remember selling bubblegum. In middle school I was already having to buy my own lunch money, like get my own lunch money in school, in middle school. So the notion of asking my parents to buy me a $60 sweater would have just been outrageous. So you're going to school where all these little rich kids are wearing Hollister, Abercrombie, and they're making fun of you, like, bro, like, you can't afford Hollister. Like, all these kids had on us is that their parents had money. Because if you took away their parents' money and they were wearing the same clothes that we were wearing, they would not have been cooler than us. It was just the notion that, you know, their parents were buying them clothes.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was in school, you know, my dad was in banking, and my dad was like, oh, they live in a condo. Like, somehow he knew the parents. He's like, yeah, they ain't living on Easy Street. They're not as rich as they say they are.
Yeah, there's always little rich kids that always like pretended. So we're gonna go into the Central Valley, I guess is what it's called. I don't know what the crap it's called. But just so you know, we could be in Bakersfield in 3 hours. Went south.
Head east on Sunny Slope Road toward Fairview Road. Then
Sure.
But
turn
I
right
think
onto Fairview
Fresno
Road.
is interesting.
It is,
Turn right onto Fairview Road.
but it's literally gonna cost us an entire day on the road. Just so you know. Stockton and Sacramento are a completely other question because of the weather.
Fresno. That's where, you know, we were watching Born in East LA. That's where the mom went. Oh, man, they're in Fresno.
Oh, yeah. So I think the furthest north we could go is La Merced. And even that's an hour and 30 minutes through absolute nothing. The first hour is like mountains. And then the last 45 minutes is like fields and stuff. So there's nothing out there. Just so you know. Now, if we went towards Fresno, that's if you want to go to Merced. You want to go to Fresno?
I want to go to Fresno.
So skip on Merced. Nice views though.
Yeah.
Oh, they're in the same direction. We'll decide.
Fresno.
Continue on Fairview Road for 7
Oh,
miles.
they went to Fresno, Holmes.
Yeah. Oh man, they in Fresno.
Can't remember. You believe you remember that line? Oh. Or we could go towards Coalinga.
Fresno.
Fresno it is. Okay. Fresno.
I gotta see what was so appealing about Fresno.
Okay. What were your thoughts on Hollister? I mean, it's not a bad looking town. It really isn't. But it's not it's not the surfing community we were told. And there's goats right there in the field.
I can tell you nobody in that town is buying clothes from Hollister.
I don't think they know what Hollister is.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Nobody in this town would dare wear that brand.
Yeah.
They probably hate the brand for knocking off their town's name. If I had to take a guess, people here would probably hate the brand because they knocked off their town's name, ran with it, made it seem like something it wasn't.
Made it seem cool.
Well, it's cool to little rich white kids in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Because to the kids here, I don't think they would wear that crap. I never wore Hollister. And Hollister was, like I said, for like the most elite preppy kids. And by the way, I did know Spanish kids that wore Hollister to try to fit in with the preppy white kids. And those were called sellouts. But there were a lot of there were a lot of Spanish kids that, their parents had enough money to buy them that stuff. But just the notion of us being able to wear those brands until, like I said, when we started doing bad stuff and we were wearing it. There was no stopping at that point. When we started wearing bad stuff, we got into bad stuff, then we started. And then when we started, what was funny is I actually had a girlfriend in middle school, and when I was wearing like dirty sheep clothes, she was my girlfriend. And this is where I realized women are wicked.
Yeah.
When I was able to afford, like all of a sudden we started doing some bad stuff, and I was showing up to school wearing Abercrombie and denim jeans and stuff. And my girlfriend at the time dumped me because I wasn't gangster anymore. And the ironic thing is that when I started to wear preppy clothes, that's when I really started doing gangster stuff.
Yeah.
Because now I was able to afford preppy clothes. Isn't that just ironic? Okay. All the time I was broke, she was my girlfriend. And I would hang out with her. I would go to her apartment complex and whatever. She was Guatemalan, by the way.
Oh,
okay.
That makes more
The
sense.
moment I really started doing bad gang, like I was like a fake gangster, right? I was a fake gangster wearing dirty like white tees and stuff. She was my girlfriend. When I really started to do real gangster crap and I was starting to show up to school with like Abercrombie and stuff. And by the way, my parents never questioned how I'm wearing a $120 shirt, by the way. My parents were like, oh, whatever, he's got a $120 shirt.
He's got a shirt on. We're good.
Oh, fuiste a la purga, niño. I'm like, no. Because Spanish moms are like the most like...
My kid's wearing a shirt. I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, Spanish moms are like, and grandmas are even worse. Spanish grandmas are worse.
Yeah.
And no, mi niño, no, es muy bueno.
Yeah.
Mi niño, es muy bueno.
Yeah.
Like, one time the cops brought me home, and like my whole family attacked the cops. Like, no, Jose's good boy. And like 50 of my family members ran the cops off, yelling at the cops saying I would never do that. Like my whole family flash mobbed the cops. Like, how dare you say he's a
Well,
bad
we
kid?
have 50 character witnesses here saying he's a good boy. Oh, he must be a good boy. Oh, and they're all alibiing for him.
Like, the cops brought me home one day, and like the whole family is like upset at the cops for finding me. Mi niño es muy bueno. But anyways, what? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it was hilarious how, when I was fake, I had this girlfriend, and the moment I actually started doing the real bad stuff, then when I was a real gangster, I started buying like name brand clothes and stuff to go to school looking better, that's when I get dumped. Because I was no longer a gangster. I was like, and she dumped me. There's no telling her like I was no longer. She's like, you're not cool. You're not gangster anymore. I thought you were a real bad guy. I'm like, that was ironic. Anyways, that's just a little story there. So I was preppy for like the last little bit of middle school. And the other reason we started dressing preppy, I'll tell you the other reason we started dressing preppy, is because it finally got the cops off our back.
Yeah.
My gosh, man. So I had like other kids that were a little bit like in middle school, high school, and they were bad kids. Like we were wearing tall tees and black tees and white tees and stuff like that. And my friends that were older were like, "Hey, dude, if you start wearing Abercrombie and Fitch and stuff, like if you look preppy, the cops won't bother you anymore." And we were getting harassed like all the time. We were getting pulled over. We were getting searched. We were getting like total. We were taking a right up ahead.
Okay.
When the road ends, take a right. When there's a big intersection with a light, you take a right.
Okay. Cool.
156, take a right. Well, anyways, we were being harassed by the cops all the time, and it was starting to be a problem for us because the cops were really like profiling us. So when we started, isn't this ironic? First, look at how vain people. This is when we learned how vain people are. One, my girlfriend dumped me when I started wearing preppy clothes, which we had to start wearing preppy clothes for two reasons. One was that we were being profiled so much by the cops that we had to go undercover because the cops were profiling us so much that you couldn't really, if you're wearing baggy t-shirts and baggy jeans, either in school or in the neighborhood, the cops were coming after you. So we had to stop dressing. And it's true, the moment we started to dress preppy, never again did we get profiled. Like the cops were off us for like 2 years. But it's weird how both your girlfriend and law enforcement are gonna perceive you differently just by how you dress. Like we live in a society where we take everything by face value. Whether it's your girlfriend or law enforcement, how you dress will definitely determine.
Turn right onto California 156 East.
Will definitely determine how people perceive you. It's wild that you're being perceived that way, but
continue on California 156 East for 3 miles.
Crazy. And sure enough, no, we were no longer being profiled. My girlfriend dumped me, all because I started wearing preppy clothes. And but when we went into high school, we got everybody together again, and we started dressing ghetto again. Because when we entered high school, our high school that we were entering was like 30% Hispanic. And we knew that already. Like we're entering a high school that's 30% Hispanic. So the problem was in the middle school, it was like 3% Hispanic. So we were being profiled. But when we entered high school, and the high school included part of the Golden Gate Estate, so it went from like 3% Hispanic or 3 or 4% Hispanic to like 30% Hispanic. So when we entered high school, when you were back into high school, we didn't have to dress preppy anymore. So the first day of high school, we all went in together dressed the same, and the cops told us, haha, I'm gonna ruin your first day in high school. They told me we're gonna ruin your life.
That's bad.
Yeah, but then again, we were all wearing the same colors. We went in wearing, bandanas and stuff. Our first day in high school. Now we knew there's a dress code in high school. You can't wear bandanas and stuff. But we knew the first day in high school, they couldn't enforce the dress code. You had to drive fast reading.
Yeah.
They couldn't enforce the dress code the first day of school because you have to go through like an orientation of high school, right? So like, since there was an orientation, the first few days in high school, there was no dress code because they hadn't orientated you. But we already knew that. So the first day in high school, all 4 of my friends got off the same school bus, wearing baggy jeans, bandanas, and our colors. And they came up to me. The cop found me, grabbed me by the shirt, threw us in a hallway.
That's illegal.
Yeah, of course, but they don't. I mean, they don't. When you're being profiled, they don't give a crap. They treat you like you're a piece of crap, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
They threw us in a hallway. They looked at our names, and they picked me out. Out of all 4 of my friends, they picked me out, and they said, "You're the top dog here." He told me, "You're not gonna finish high school. You're not." He told me, my first day in high school, the sheriff told me, if I were you, I wouldn't even come back to the school tomorrow. You might as well just go ahead and drop out now, because if you come back to the school, I'm gonna make sure that you get arrested.
In half a mile,
He told me,
continue straight
my
onto
first day in
California
high school,
152 East.
my first day in high school, the cop that was assigned to that high school told me, I'm going to make sure that you leave the school in a handcuff. He told me the first day in high school, he told me to drop out.
Continue straight onto California 152
You think
East.
a high school where they're mostly rich white kids, they're going to allow 4 or 5 kids to just come in on the first day of school like that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Continue for 72
No
miles.
crap.
It's messed up.
Yeah, the first day in high school, they told me, you might as well not come back to school tomorrow because we're gonna arrest you. He says, I swear on everything that I have, you're gonna spend the rest. You're gonna leave in handcuffs. And eventually, you know what happened when they set me up with that one teacher that eventually became the superintendent for the whole district. Eventually, they kept their promise to kick me out of school, because eventually, the lady that got me expelled from Gulf Coast High School, they promoted her.
That was a kickback.
That was a kickback for her because she set me up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That woman should be in jail.
Yeah. Julie Sprague is her name. They made her the superintendent for the whole district of Color County or whatever. I don't know how it works. Like, they made her like a top boss in the school district.
Mm.
And they did that to sink her because she got me expelled because she set me up, and she lied to set me up to get me expelled. When I got expelled from Gulf Coast High School was because they set me up to get me expelled. The whole people that say stuff like, "Oh, you're crying about discrimination." No, dude, like
That is discrimination.
Them people really, like, to the point where we even for a while had to start trying to dress preppy, just so to get them off our backs because they were just profiling it. And they did kick me out. And when they kicked me out of Gulf Coast High School, it wasn't like I'll be honest, in middle school, we were acting a complete fool in middle school. I'm not going to deny that in middle school, I was a complete fool. But in high school, I wasn't doing all that crazy stuff. I really wasn't. Well, go figure. There was a white girl who was selling and who brought one to school, and they caught her whipping in school. Could you imagine if they had caught me with that in school? With a G in school? She brought a G, and they arrested her, and she got 10 days in enhanced assist because her daddy was a cop. Biggest dealer, or her daddy was a cop or a sheriff or a bigwig or something, so they let her go. This white girl was selling in school, brought one to school in high school, and she graduated high school. This chick graduated high school. And I got dropped out. And I got dropped out because, look, I got kicked out of high school for having a cell phone through Julie Sprague, who later got promoted through the Color County school system. Great job there, Color County school system. No surprise, because recently, if you look at the news, you'll see that the little protest they had in Color County schools lets you know they're full colors.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was expelled from Gulf Coast High School for bringing a cell phone because at age 15 I was working. So I was going to school and I was working, so I wasn't being a fool. I was really trying to get my crap together in high school. I wanted to graduate high school. I'm going to a high school full of rich white kids. I'm working, so I got a little bit of money to buy the clothes that I want. I wanted to finish high school. Bro, Gulf Coast High School was a dream for me to be there. Okay? I'm finally working. I was managing a company, a landscaping company. The owner of the company moved to England and left me in charge of the company. Was paying me good money just to run the company. So I had to have a cell phone on me throughout the day because I was working. I was happy. Here I am in a nice, rich school. I was having a good time. Like, going to Gulf Coast High School was incredible. And then, if the last 2 years in high school, you were actually allowed to drive your car to school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was even more exciting to me, because I figured if I can get to 10th and 11th grade,
Yeah.
or 11th and 12th grade, if I can get to 12th grade, I can drive my own car to school. Now, my older cousins went through Barron Color, right? You went to Barron
Yeah.
Color. You went to
I
Barron Color?
didn't. No, I was supposed to.
You would have gone to Barron Color.
Because we moved
Yeah.
from Naples to Fort Myers.
Okay. So, my cousins went to Barron Color. They had like Nissans and Mitsubishis and like sports cars with like bumpers lowered to the ground, lights underneath. Like, you know, they had the coolest like sports cars were the thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, if I can make it to 12th grade, I'll be driving to school in my car, listening to the music that was popular back then. Like, these were like, dude, this is like the dream of any child, to be in high school, in a popular high school with, you know, like an incredible school. Like, dude, they snatched all that from me simply because I was not what they wanted in that school. And then they catch this girl with that in school. Then they sent her. She was in enhanced during the same time that I was in enhanced.
Wow.
And they let her graduate. They let her go off to graduate, bringing that to school. That's a danger. But me, because I had a cell phone, expelled? Come on, bro. Them people did me dirty, Katie. Dirty, dirty,
I
dirty.
know. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
To know that they did that to you.
Yeah. And this isn't
Or that they would do that to anyone.
Yeah, and this isn't some made up fairy tale. This is real crap that we lived through, man. This is real crap. You saw how things worked out in Alabama for us too.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, dude, that was so. Well, you don't know. You ever get to meet my friend, the one that I told you that did 6 years?
Yeah. He came to the house and you told me to go away. So.
Yeah. You ever got to meet the one that's missing an eye? He's got a little problem with his eye.
I don't remember. I remember someone came to the house.
Okay, so that's my friend. I'm not gonna say his name. I've been trying to interview him, but I haven't. I don't think he wants to do it.
Okay.
He did 6 years for a robbery he did not commit. Simply put, when the sheriffs were assigned to North Naples, they had a list of people they wanted to get rid of, and he was on that list. And basically, I think it went something like they robbed a cop. They did a home invasion on a police officer's house. Bad move. And that was that's wild, because it's a whole can of worms. But they were little kids, man. They were little kids doing stupid. In fact, you know, one of our high school, this kid went to high school, but his name was Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest news stories to ever come out of Naples was our friend Patrick. He did a home invasion, and the homeowner caught him, and you know, we lost him. Dude, the stuff that happened when we were growing up over there was wild.
Yeah.
Bro. Like,
it's sad.
yeah. And him getting, you know, that happening to him was touching for us, because that's the type of thing that, you know, kids in my neighborhood were doing. You know, kids in my neighborhood were doing those things, but it was like, that really stopped a lot of kids our age when we were growing up, like, stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Because breaking in the house was a big thing. It still is in Southwest Florida. And remember when we did that last video in Lehigh, like, where all those houses had the windows blown out?
Yeah.
Like, home invasions was just a real big thing down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of bad turn of events. But it's weird how like just how you dress plays a role into how you're perceived by other people. Crazy. Anyways, dark topics. But my friend, he did 6 years, and he wasn't the one who did it. But he was on the list of people they wanted to get out of the way. And I was on that list of people they wanted to get out of the way. It's just they were never really able to entangle me. That's why, like, when you go see me, when I go to Naples, and the cops are pulling us over, and you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's like they have it out for me, don't they?
Yeah.
You've seen how they have it out for me.
Oh my gosh, like, we went on our second date. They were pulling us out of the car and throwing us on the ground, and until they realized my license and my last name.
Yeah. Then they treat you the same way. Then they changed the narrative.
They changed the narrative once they saw me.
Yeah. They realized they couldn't. When your dad was a freaking, banker with lawyer ties and stuff, they couldn't be doing.
I should have told my grandparents.
Yeah.
I really should have told my grandparents.
Yeah.
Because they would have had the county sued.
Yeah. Oh, I could have sued them a million times. But the thing is, like, when there's injustices like that.
Yeah.
Somebody will pretend they did a slip and fall, and they'll sue somebody and get $1 million.
Yeah.
And then when there's a real injustice, there's no lawyer willing to stand up. There's no, you know what I mean? It's like real injustices don't really get. But at the end of the day, look what we're doing. We're in California road tripping.
Yep.
We're in California road tripping.
Yeah.
Who knows what all those people are? But you got to see firsthand all that, but you didn't get to see the first stage of all that.
Yeah.
Which was even worse because we were little kids.
I know.
And what's crazy, all the bad stuff we were doing was just so that we would stop getting, because the rich kids were making fun of us. All the bad stuff we did growing up, initially, no, the whole thing was really, if you think about it, we had to do what we did. We had to, we were getting picked on. I remember kids, in 6th grade, we enter middle school. At least the only thing that saved us in middle school is that we were in Oak Ridge. You went to Oak Ridge?
Heather did.
Okay, your sister went to Oak Ridge. When we went to Oak Ridge, there was a lot of poor rednecks. So at least we weren't the only poor people there.
Yeah.
In Oak Ridge, we were getting made fun of a lot in Oak Ridge. We used to have to wear the fake Converses. That's all we could afford.
Yeah.
There were $20 shoes. That's all our parents could afford to put on us.
Yeah.
All those little rich kids were making fun of us. And when I went to Oak Ridge, my friends were mostly remember there was the punk rockers back then?
Yeah.
There was you had the gothic kids, and then you had.
Yeah, you had emo punk.
You wore a black tee. You wore a black tee and listened to Linkin Park or something.
Yeah.
So that was my little crew in middle school.
You shopped at Hot Topic. You bought the t-shirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So during that phase, we would wear elk.
Elk.
Wow, we've seen those in Colorado.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I can tell you one thing. I am so glad that when we were living in Naples, that we never had children in the school system. Yeah, that we never had.
Oh, they would have gone through the same thing I went through.
Or worse.
Yeah. Well, even now, my little ones in the family, when they tell me that the teachers that are still there, when I remember one of my little ones, I'm not going to say which one, but he told me that in his first day of school, the teachers told him, "Are you related to Jose?" And they already had it set out for him simply because he was related to me. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and beautiful kid.
No.
Wonderful kid.
Raised right.
Raised right.
Yeah. And his parents came and told me too that, hey, first day in school, we had a teacher, approach him and say, "Are you related to him?" And then the teacher said, "This is the second part of the nightmare," because he looks exactly like me too. They're like, "Oh, this is the second part of the nightmare."
Oh, they would have gotten the Karen lawsuit of the year from me.
Yeah. So it's people, they got to set out for you, man. People, they really got to set out. They are set against you, man.
I would have lost it on somebody. I guarantee it.
There's a reservoir here of water. But the thing is, like, well, let's back up to middle school. Like I said, Oak Ridge Middle School. Oak Ridge Middle School, man. I can definitely see an elk hanging out here. Keep your eyes on the road, though.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Oak Ridge, we were wearing like black tees that had the little funny stick figures on them. Remember those? That was popular. White tees with the stick figures. You guys can see that view line. This is incredible. I think even if there's snow, we should try risk going in the Sierras and stuff.
I think so too. Like Reno?
Yeah, we might hit snow. We have to be careful.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with Reno is going to be the snow.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult.
But
We're gonna have to let's come back in the summer.
Yeah.
Let's come back in the summer and we can really see it.
Oh, the summer is gonna be terrible.
What, the amount of people?
No, it's in a desert.
So? The desert's not going to stall you out.
Yeah.
This is a state reservoir. Don't they say California's running out of water? It looks like it's got water.
Full of water.
It's a lot of water if you ask me. Not sure why you're stuck behind 3 semi-trucks, Katie.
Okay.
Alright, y'all. Interesting stories, and all these stories are just interesting because they're related to clothing. Hollister, dressing.
Yeah.
That's the things that were going on in our life,
Yeah.
at least in my life, during the time that this was going on. At least in my lifetime, that was going on when we were when those name brands were popping. I think nowadays. All right, guys. Interesting conversation.